Today's episode is brought to you by Raise.com, a place to save more everywhere you shop. You can unlock discounts and cashback cards and coupons on the best offers with Raise, everything from Adidas shoes to Lowe's to Cabela's to Walmart to Starbucks, all of these amazing places that you can get discount gift cards and purchase them on Raise.com. And if you use my promo code, you can actually get $5 off your first card. So go to geta.raise.com, geta.raise, raise.com /RAllen6552. Go there, get $5 off your gift card, start saving on everything that you're doing already as purchases are being made online all day, every day. So go to there and get your $5 off. On today's podcast, we get to speak with Peggy Niles from Quantum Scaling. She is a performance and profit strategist and a business mentor. And let's tell you, it was fun to talk with her. She talked about bucket list items. She talked about different things that we can do as small business owners to help us with our profit, not just our top line revenue, but our profit, and what a great way to go about it. So take a listen and she will give us some tips and some tricks on things that we need to do. And she's also going to share a little bit about how she's helping to scale her own business. And so let's listen in on the performance and profit strategist.
Welcome to Peppershock Media's Marketing Expedition podcast, keeping you up to date with the latest in marketing and advertising. Now here's your host, Rhea Allen.
Welcome to the Marketing Expedition podcast. I'm your host, Rhea Allen, and today we have Peggy Niles as the profit strategist and business mentor, performance and profit. She's the strategist here. She's going to help 6- and 7-figure business owners transform their companies from the daily grind to one that keeps running smoothly while the owner focuses on the things that matter most to them. She walks her clients through a 3-step quantum scaling system, a proven system to reach their 5-year goals in 12 to 24 months. And with 30 years of experience, she specializes in scaling strategies, leadership, and process creation management. Also, as a certified public accountant by trade, Peggy always keeps an eye on the effects that actions and strategies have on the business's bottom line. I always say, build your brand and bottom line. Peggy is always doing that. And then she is believing that small business is the best way to make a difference in the world. That's why she keeps helping her clients grow and scale their companies without the overwhelm of laboring endless hours. Ugh. And so that they can fulfill our dreams and gain the freedom and life that we want, that we've always wanted, and the impact that we deserve, right? Welcome to the show, Peggy.
Hey, Ray, nice to talk to you this morning.
So Peggy, tell me, you've got 30 years of experience. You've got a CPA background. What made you want to shift into really helping people with their performance and profit?
Working in accounting, you learn so much more about a business than just accounting. Back when I worked in large corporations, you learn that none of the departments or divisions talk to each other. Legal's off in their own little world, financial's off in their. And the same thing happens in small businesses, only the minute difference is that with small businesses, the business owner usually knows their thing, right? They're great at their thing, but the overall business acumen, what's involved. And they don't learn that until after they get in the midst of the daily grind. And it's kind of late after that to really plan out what you want. So that's how I got into it. I learned that I was helping my clients with more than just their accounting. People look at accounting as boring, right? Until they learn what the numbers can do for them. So that's how I kind of started, just expanding slowly out of accounting into helping my clients grow through other means.
And so through this process, let's back up a little bit. What got you to where you are now? I mean, your schooling, your upbringing, were you always an entrepreneur type? Kind of tell me a little bit about your path and your journey.
Yeah, so I'll start out really quickly from my young days. That seems so far away. Originally I wanted to be a nurse.
Really? Aw.
I did. And then We were playing, and one of my girlfriend's young sisters fell off of a garbage can and split her head open in front of me.
Oh no.
And they were more worried about me than her. Let's put it that way. So yeah, I knew that wasn't going to be my career. So that's when I switched to business. I knew business. My dad was a CPA as well. So I went in and I'm like, I want to switch to accounting. And really, I kind of knew all along. I'd set my goals. I knew what I wanted and I knew what I had to do to get there. That's when the planning in me started coming out. Yeah, so I went for it, and numbers is my thing, business is my thing. I like to say I'm not a housewife, I'm a businesswoman because it's really between family and my business, my clients, or for me to spend quality time with my family than worry about cleaning the house or so forth. So that's kind of how I got on the road. I always knew I wanted to own my own business, but I insisted upon working in both the corporate world and the public accounting world because I wanted to gain as much experience as I could so that I could properly serve clients. And
Nice.
when the opportunity came along to start my own business, I jumped on it and I had all the support I needed in my family to do so. And a lot of business owners don't have that. Which I'm sure we can talk about in a little bit, right?
Yeah, for sure. So walk me through the process of working. What's it like to be a client of Peggy's? What can you expect? What do you get to do with you?
I love to be challenged, and so I will challenge my clients. They really have to be growth minded. And what we do, it's very important to me to take a deep dive into gaining clarity on what their ultimate vision. And it really helps to uncover the hidden opportunities so you can build sustainable growth. I take a deep dive into their company, talk with the owner about their goals and what their end vision is, their what if vision, and really strengths, opportunities, weaknesses that are currently in their business and that they can take action on immediately to start building the momentum to go forward. From there, we then build their roadmap, their ideal roadmap to get them from where they currently are to where they ultimately want to be. And that's typically, it can be a day process, it could be a week process. And then from there, we'll go on to really continual month to month guidance, holding them accountable, no excuses. If this is the goal you set, we're going to say who's responsible and keep them accountable for it and work on the goals so we know the ultimate long-term goal, but then we break it down. And then more so 90 days. Always make sure that you're focusing on the thing you need to be focused on at that point in time to make the greatest impact to move you to the next level and to achieve that shorter term goal. Along the way also, as they build their teams up and we mentor their leadership so that they are building a team that the owner can eventually rely on and they can enjoy life, invest more time doing the important things, more impactful things on reaching their vision with their company.
So Peggy, do you think that your impact of what you've done with your clients has helped your clients long-term, or is it kind of like you're going to help for 90 days and then they make this change and then they don't need you anymore? Or do you have ongoing clients? Do you work with them on a long-term basis?
Yes, I definitely work with them on a long-term basis. And really, a lot of my clients have become like family to me. Because we do the deep dive. And no matter, some like coaches out there or other consultants, mentors, they focus on the business vision, right? But there's always, to me, it's a personal vision and a business vision.
Right.
You can't have one without the other. There's your why. Usually your why, your big why, is related to something personal. So by taking those deep dives and learning more about them, both from a professional and personal standpoint, right, we become friends. And I care very deeply about my clients. And that's kind of where the no BS comes in, the challenges and the no excuses. It kind of seems like throughout my life, I was a go-to person when someone had a problem or that, they'd come to me to help them solve it. And then also I had a ton of conversations throughout my career with people saying, oh, I'm going to do this at some point in time. Oh, I want to do this. But then it stops there. You talk to them, you probably had this. You talk to them a year later, 5 years later, and they're still telling you the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why don't you do it? And that's like, I don't know if it's fear, lack of confidence, but you know what? If you have a dream, you have to go after it. You can't just settle for the status quo. And that's what really excites me. People shouldn't, just because they want to have a business, they shouldn't lose their passion in that daily grind or overwhelm.
Good. So let's talk about some success stories of clients that you have helped, your friends that you've helped, really, that have become friends. I mean, if you care to share and can share, do you have kind of a story that comes to mind about somebody that you've helped? And you don't necessarily have to name names, but what's happened? How have you helped them?
So it can be little things that get them started, such as one person was stuck. She couldn't do any of her writing because she wasn't sure which way she wanted to go with it. Story-based, lesson-based. And so we discussed what she was trying to achieve, who her target was. And I was able to relate it to actually my business because it was wealth and financial. So I gave her my bank of numbers and wealth. Of course, they love wealth, but the detail,
right?
Like, who wants to talk about that? Again, it's boring. I remember one of my first networking events. They're like, "Oh, that's boring." Till you work with me, and then you get excited about your numbers. Let me tell you something. So that's
probably something that a lot of people need to know or hear. Is excited about their numbers.
In marketing, you have to help your clients with that, which I know you do. So you kind of got a little experience with my number geekness.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, once I gave her that viewpoint of how to make it more of a story and how it can relate to them and so forth, boom, she was able to start writing. Her block, gone. Then you go a little further with a client who was a sales company. They were losing money. They were having trouble. Their salesmen were taking on any jobs. They didn't care what. The job could maybe be sold at a loss to begin with. It took forever to collect the cash. And the salespeople were getting 50% off, not considering any of the overhead. So we made an adjustment, right? That we told the salespeople, okay, you guys are going to take the hit for some of the overhead related, the direct costs related to the job. It's not just going to be on our company. And you're not going to get paid until we get paid by the client. Well, just making that one shift changed not only their cash flow, but it changed the sales guys' perspectives. Now, all of a sudden, they were looking for better jobs. That increased by 3 times, that increased their cash flow and shortened the collection period for that company so that they had the cash to spend on other things. And it also brought them better jobs. That led to them to be able to be buying their own printing company as well, which led to another further expansion. So that kind of thing happens. A lot of times it's just the little tweaks, but then we walk them through the process and build the plan for such, like purchasing the other print. Other things, it may be, you're stuck trying to accomplish, I work mostly with service-based companies, and utilization with your staff and your team. People sometimes don't track that, or they want to, and you should. But they were trying to get this application, and it was slowing them down. They didn't do it for years, and it again was a collection problem then. Slowed things down. They couldn't build their business, right? So by helping them focus on what needed to be done to achieve getting that application into place, by setting the goals, they were able to do that. They were up 100% in their revenue.
Wow.
Now this doesn't happen to every client, but everyone has different dreams. And so we customized strategy to the business and the business owner and what they're trying to achieve.
Mhm. So tell me a little bit more about kind of your helpers and people who've helped you along the way.
Well, I've had a lot of mentors, there have been a couple professional ones. Well, I should say a couple paid professional ones. And then I've also had my family. My dad was a very large mentor, friend, example to me. Although he worked in corporate most of his life, when he retired, he came and worked for me, for my business, some. And what I learned from him is how to be humble, how to help others. He got so many people jobs. And then I've had bosses and leaders that you'll learn what worked and what didn't work. And you got to use those lessons no matter what.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I learned some things of what not to do from some of my bosses.
Yeah. I mean, I'm all about, with me, it's all about not sacrificing your life to have your dream business.
Mm-hmm.
And use your business to have the lifestyle that you really want.
Mm-hmm.
Like that since probably my mid corporate days, where once I started having, what, I'm not giving up my life for my career, and there's no reason why I can't have both.
Mm-hmm.
And so you might enjoy this story. I had this one boss. Now, this was before cell phones, or if cell phones were out, they were those big, like, box type things, like walkie-talkies that I don't know if you're familiar with. Right?
The brick.
It was more of a beepers. I think beepers were just the popular thing back then.
Yeah.
And I had this one boss. He was crazy. He wanted to work all the time. And we were in accounting for a corporate, nothing emergency. It wasn't life and death.
Mm-hmm.
And my grandparents had a cottage in no man's land somewhere in Indiana. And we didn't have a phone up there. And I was going for a weekend. And he's like, oh, well, if I call you, what's the number? I'm like, you don't need to call me, first of all.
Right.
And secondly, we don't have a phone. And he's like, what? He didn't believe me. And he's like, oh, I better get you a beeper. I said, you know what? Go ahead, get me that beeper. I have a 2-year-old cousin. She'd love it. I'll give it to her. Well, I never heard about a beeper from him again. But, that's the thing. Nowadays, we're so attached to technology, you got to disconnect sometimes.
You're right. Yeah, it's tough, but it's true. When we go where there's a resort town, and there's always a place where you can't get any reception, and going through that. And of course my kids, like, oh, they get all upset, but then they have to find other things to do aside from being connected to their screens. And it is good to get away for a while, for sure.
And especially as a business owner, it's important to have the team to rely on when you step away. Either the team or just have your systems automated so they keep working while you're going having fun.
Yep, that's so true. I always say, measure what you treasure, dump what you don't, and automate what you hate.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good motto.
Yeah, there you go. I figured you'd like that because your affiliation with numbers, or your numbers.
And it's funny because a lot of the problems some of my clients have is with the marketing. Newer companies especially have this problem, and even some that have been around for the 5 to 7 years or longer. They just don't have that marketing system in place. There's no real process. And like I was saying earlier, when they start their business, right, they just get into, I got to get clients, I got to get clients, I got to get clients. But once those clients start coming in, then the focus turns to, I got to serve those clients, I got to serve those clients. And they don't have anything in the pipeline.
Right.
And their marketing system has pretty much died, right? And so that really is a major piece of the puzzle. I mean, it's one of the 5 core pillars of your business. And so it has to be connected with the rest of your business.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have something established, a process established, and you have to share it with your team as to how that message is still going to keep going. Right. Whether you bring a marketing team in on, within your business, whether you hire a freelancer, whether you use automation. Typically, as you grow, it'll be a combination of those, right? Mm-hmm. But it's so important to keep the focus on marketing throughout. I always say your business is like a puzzle. Mm-hmm. I've had some clients where they have fulfillment and they have marketing. And again, they don't talk or communicate. And marketing's selling one message and fulfillment is saying, what? We can't.
Yeah, so they're all going in tandem together, right? You're not over promising and under delivering, but under promising and over delivering what you are selling so that they can actually fulfill it. You're right. Absolutely. And keeping all of those together. And you're right about the pipeline. I think that's why so many ebbs and flows happen, because you get all the clients and then you're so busy, you got to get all the work done. You completely forget about marketing. So if you can automate it and make a system happen, hire people to help you with that, you're singing my praises. You're singing my song.
How often I hear, I get my business from referrals, from networking. Well, that's a little hard right now, right?
Right. Yeah. With the pandemic in place, I mean, yeah.
You want to build it so it's resilient and sustainable. And in order to do that, it has to be built in a way that you could pivot quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of companies proved that they could do that this past year. But so what do you do now if you can't network?
Accelerate word of mouth.
Marketing.
Yeah, accelerate word of mouth and double down on digital is what I keep telling people. Is like, that's where everybody is online now and networking online. And it's really, the audience is the globe now, because like you and I, we're not in the same state, we're out of state. And we also belong to a group that has people from all over the world in it. And now we can, open up our abilities, our services to people all over. And it's as if we're not really skipping a beat, because we're still networking, but just in a different way.
Isn't that a great thing? I mean, I love meeting people from all over and getting different perspectives, and understanding the different cultures. And even though some of us may even be within the US, we still have different ways of doing things if we're in different states. And it's so fun to learn what else is out there.
Yeah, and learn about time changes and how some people in the world have a different fallback schedule than we do, or spring ahead time change.
Even the shutdowns, it's funny how like some states are going through this, other states they're like, oh, we really didn't shut down. They said that it's very little, and so it's really interesting to learn what's going on elsewhere.
If you could travel anywhere in the world right now, where would you go, Peggy, if we could do it at the moment?
Honestly, this past year I've given a lot of thought that, and I've had this conversation with my sons and my husband, that if they opened up where I could travel right now, I would travel to different places in the US. There are a lot of beautiful places that we've never seen and I've heard of. And why do we need to go out of the country to do so? I would love to go to Hawaii. That's always been one of my dreams, because I love being by the water.
Yeah.
I was in, I think it was Boca Raton, Florida, sitting on the beach when I made the decision to start my own company.
Nice.
So the water inspires me. If I were to go out of the country, it would be Ireland. Yeah. To learn more about my heritage, because I hear how beautiful it is. The people there are so friendly. We have a couple people from Ireland in our networking group, ENE, that you were.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So yeah, that would be my desires, I think.
Yeah, and I just had Shelly Yorgeson, the founder of the Entrepreneurs Networking Events group on Facebook, and she's talking about the castle trip to Ireland. In I guess it would be the fall of 2021. So people are listening to this, beyond the fact that when we're recording, but I think she's planning on doing that. Consecutively year over year, as long as there's no pandemic going on or anything like that. But I'm seriously considering it, because now I have all these airline miles I don't know what to do with. I haven't been able to travel, and I've had to, I was supposed to go speak in New York and Las Vegas and all these places, and ended up just doing it all virtually. So now I have airline credits that they've extended, thankfully. They were going to expire. And so then I was like, well, let's just plan a trip. But then, of course, our stages in our state moved to what they called stage 2 here. Some people have orange, red. I mean, they do different things, but basically no more gatherings of 10 people, and only essential travel. Non-essential travel is out. So I was like, well, I guess I am going to lose all that. But luckily, thankfully, and I'm not getting endorsed by Alaska Airlines, but they were nice enough to extend the credit for it. So maybe we will take that trip to Hawaii or something. I'm not sure yet what we're going to do, but anyway, yeah, I was just like,
do you remember this show, Gilligan's Island, or are you too young for that?
I do. In fact, Marianne had hired her to do an MC for an event, fundraising event that we put on. So yeah, I'm very
cool.
Yeah.
One time, my family, we were in the Bahamas, and my youngest son and I went parasailing.
Awesome.
And my oldest son and my husband stayed in the boat with the guide and the driver, and it was like a Gilligan's Island trip. It was supposed to be like an hour parasailing
2-hour tour turned into
and 3 hours later because we got out there and we were able to do the parasailing, which was beautiful.
Oh, man.
But then all of a sudden the sky got,
oh no,
and the driver had to drive around the storm. My husband and I just kept looking at us like, oh my God, what do? We have our 2 young kids with us, and we're gonna, be swallowed up in the ocean here.
When we went to the Bahamas, it was right after hurricane season, which we didn't necessarily realize that was, why the lure or the, come to the Bahamas because it's, cheaper or whatever. And I was young. I was probably 15 or so. And I completely understand the way the weather changes so rapidly there and how that can happen. And it's beautiful. But yeah, I just remember the Bahama Mamas that they gave all the people on the boat to get over there, and of course I was too young to have them. So I was just helping them, later pass out the bags that they all needed. the water was a little, sketchy. Anyway, yeah, Bahamas. But, since we're on that topic, the one thing that I remember the most is the swimming with the dolphins experience. Did you do that?
I did not do that, but that is on my bucket list.
Yeah, it was. I always tell my kids, I'm like, whenever I die, I want you guys to go instead of doing the funeral, just go spread my ashes and go swim with the dolphins. That's all I want.
That's what I said.
That's all I want. That's all I want you to do. I don't spend money on all the, stuff. I'm dead. What do I care, right? I want you to go, enjoy a trip and go, go swim with the dolphins.
But what lesson learned there is you should only worry about what you have control over.
That's right. That's right.
And
yeah, I said to Drew, my husband, I'm like,
just go with it. Go with the flow.
Yep. So Peggy, a couple more questions for you. What are your plans now? I mean, obviously we're kind of going through this pandemic, and like you mentioned, it's a little bit harder to network and do the things that we're accustomed to, but what are your plans for the next 5 to 7 years for your own business? And how do you see yourself scaling your own business?
So as I grow, I will continue to build my team and be able to watch and be more alert as to what my clients' needs are so that I can pivot and add as I go along as to what they need.
Good. Tell me a couple things that you're doing now to help you market, aside from the E&E group that we talked about, but what are some other things that you're doing that seem to be working for you? Right
now, I have been doing speaking, and I've built a mini webinar. I've joined the global networking, as well as doing a lot of videos and live videos and making connections in whatever way I can. I'm in the middle of a course to help business owners. And once I'm done with that, I'm going to start a podcast as well. It's just really important I feel, to get my message out there. Yeah, that's exciting. I like it when people tell me that they're going to start their own podcast and that they're going to do some things in the future. So I'm excited for you about that and your new domain name that we made you register the other day. Yeah. performanceandprofit.com. Right. I've always been known as the Profit Strategist, and I was speaking with Rhea on how it's so much more. When people talk about or think about growing their business, they usually just think top line revenue, and it's so much more than that. It's really about making profits, right? And to find out, you need to take that deep dive, and you need to look at the processes in place, what can be improved upon. You need to look at your team, when to hire and so forth, and you need to monitor the numbers, not just the top layer, but the bottom. And as I was talking to Ray, she's like, well, it sounds to me like, yeah, it's not just profit strategist. You're working on the performance of the processes and the team and the effectiveness of the overall company. I'm like, yes, that's what I'm doing. So yeah, Ray and I got very excited about that. And
I know, and I looked up, I said domain names and performanceandprofit.com. You got it, and you're going to do some fun things with it. I can see the title of a book. I can see the title of your podcast. I can see it all.
So we're already brainstorming, but now I am known as the performance and profit strategist, and I do have the domain performance and profit. Although I haven't done anything with it yet. It's a very recent conversation. So.
Yep. So we'll have to do another follow-up podcast and talk about all the things that that you have done once it's all put together. Sure. I love it. But for now, how can people get in touch with you? Should they want to hire you or converse with you, or just have a dialogue about potentially helping them in their journey and what they're doing in their performance and their profit they want? How can they get a hold of you, Peggy?
So you know what, probably the easiest way is just to go to facebook.com/profitstrategist and follow me there. But also I would like to offer all of your listeners, if they would like the guide to the prescription of a profitable company, they can go to quantumscalingstrategies.com/numbers. So again, that's quantumscalingstrategies.com/numbers, and you can get your guide for the prescription to a profitable company.
Excellent. Thank you for that. I think that I will be getting that too myself and that as well. So we'll get that in the show notes and have that as a link for everyone as well. But thank you so much, Peggy, for sharing some words of wisdom and how we can get just a little bit more profitable and how we can maybe potentially work with you to do those types of things. And now we know your ideal customer is somebody that's in business with at least 5 to 7 years and, maybe 6 or 7 figures. It doesn't necessarily matter how much, but it's what, it doesn't matter top line, like you said, it matters to the bottom line. But any last words of wisdom that you'd like to share, Peggy?
Really just make sure that you're concentrating on the entire 5 pillars of your business in order to take you to the next level, and know which level you're actually at right now, so you know which pillar to focus on the most at the moment. And don't forget, marketing is one of those key pillars.
That's right. This is the marketing expedition after all. So we're on a journey together. Thank you again, Peggy. And for those of you listening, if you have not yet become a member of the marketingexpedition.com community, we encourage you to go there and sign up, and you get 1 month free using month 1, the number 1, month 1 for your first month, and just check it all out and see what you can do and see how much you can learn and gain from the community. And we'll hope that you'll continue on with us beyond. And until then, enjoy the journey.
Thanks for having me, Ray.
You bet.
Thanks for listening to the Marketing Expedition podcast. Find more online at peppershock.com. Wouldn't it be great if there was one place you can go to get all the latest information and tips about marketing and advertising? The Marketing Expedition community is that place. People like you gather in our online community to build relationships with others and find the latest marketing trends, tactics, tools, and technology. We help you build your brand and your bottom line. Start your adventure today. Visit themarketingexpedition.com to find out more.